Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a rut, watching days blend into each other, with your dreams seeming just out of reach? It's like no matter what you do, you're running in place, not getting any closer to where you want to be. Frustrating, isn't it? But here's a thought. What if the key to unlocking all those dreams and goals isn't found in the hustle and grind, but within the power of your own mind, or more specifically, the power of visualization? Visualization is like discovering a hidden path in a dense forest. William James, a wise old philosopher, once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." This is where visualization shines. It's a potent tool that can transform the landscape of your life in incredible ways. Think of it as an architect drawing a blueprint before the actual building takes shape. You're the architect here, and your dreams are the structures you're going to build. So how do you change the game of your life? That's what this video is all about. Keep watching until the end, because we are going to explore how the power of visualization can be your secret weapon to breaking free from the rut and stepping into a life where dreams don't just stay dreams. But to get to that point, let's first understand visualization itself. Well, you can imagine visualization like a superpower we all have, but maybe we've just forgotten how to use it. You know, when you daydream, maybe about lounging on a sunny beach or nailing that job interview, that's visualization. But it's more than just daydreaming. It's like creating a movie in your mind, where you're the director, the scriptwriter, and the star. Visualization is about seeing the life you want, in your head, down to the tiniest detail. It's like picturing yourself holding that diploma, feeling the joy, seeing the proud smiles of your family. Or maybe you're visualizing crossing the finish line of a marathon, feeling that rush of achievement. It's all about creating these clear, vivid pictures in your mind. But it's not just about seeing it, it's about feeling it, believing it. When you visualize, you're not just watching a scene, you're in it. You can feel the sand between your toes, hear the crowd cheering, smell the fresh paint in your new house. Your brain starts to think, hey, this feels real. And that's where the magic begins. And this, my friend, can change things for you, big time. For instance, picture yourself healthy and strong. Studies have shown that when people visualize themselves healthy, their bodies start to believe it. Your mind is a powerful ally in healing and staying fit. Or maybe you dreamed of financial freedom. Visualize it. See yourself as a successful person, handling money wisely, living comfortably. It's like setting the GPS for your financial journey. Also, whether you're looking for love or want to strengthen your current relationships, picture happy, loving, fulfilling relationships. Visualization can help. Got goals? Visualize them. Want to write a book, start a business, or learn a new skill? See yourself doing it, succeeding at it. Visualization can help in all these areas of your life. So we've just explored how getting crystal clear about what you want is the first big step. And how can you do it? This is where you need to understand the actual process of visualization. Think of it as crafting your personal masterpiece. It might seem a bit tricky at first, but stick with it and soon you'll be painting your future with ease. Now, to start, you have to first create your dream blueprint, or what we call idealization. For it, picture yourself as an architect. Before building anything, you need a blueprint, right? Idealization is just that. It's where you dream big and get specific about what you want. Instead of a broad, "I want to be happy," you zoom in. Ask yourself, what exactly does happiness mean to me? Is it having a fulfilling career, a loving family, traveling the world? This step is super important because it sets the stage. It tells your brain, hey, this is what we're aiming for. It's like programming your internal GPS with the exact coordinates of your destination. Next, we come to clarity and consistency. This duo is the heart and soul of visualization. Clarity means being as detailed as possible. Imagine painting a picture in your mind. You want to see all the colors, feel the emotions, hear the sounds. The clearer the image, the more real it becomes in your mind. Consistency is like adding fuel to your visualization. You've got this vivid image. Now keep revisiting it. It's like watering a plant or working out at the gym. The more you do it, the stronger and more vivid the image becomes. Make it a daily habit, like brushing your teeth or checking your phone. Over time, this constant mental rehearsal starts to reshape your reality. Next, you will need to put this into practice. Ready for a little exercise? Imagine you're standing on a snow-covered mountainside. Close your eyes for a moment. See the endless expanse of white snow around you. Feel the crisp, cold air on your skin. Hear the soft crunch of snow under your feet. Smell the fresh pine in the air. Notice the sensation of warmth despite the cold. Wrapped up in your cozy winter gear. This exercise isn't just a fun getaway for your mind, it's training. You're teaching your brain to create and believe in a new reality. The more vividly you can imagine it, the more real it becomes to you, and the stronger the impact on your mindset and your life. Remember, the process of visualization is like learning a new language. It takes practice, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be amazed at the conversations you can have with your future self. Keep at it, and soon, you'll be living out those dreams you've so vividly painted in your mind. When you visualize, you're not just daydreaming, you're actively sculpting your future. Think about it. If you spend your time imagining success, happiness, health, and love, your mind starts to move in that direction. You begin to think differently, see things differently. It's like you're planting seeds in a garden. The more you nurture these thoughts, the more they grow, and eventually, they start to blossom into reality. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it's a powerful shift. You start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. Challenges become stepping stones, not roadblocks. It's like wearing a new pair of glasses that makes everything clearer and more achievable. Now let's talk about the real powerhouse behind all this, your subconscious mind. This part of your brain is like the engine room of a ship. It keeps everything running, even though you might not be aware of it. Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful in shaping your reality. It's like a faithful servant. It listens to what you feed it through your thoughts and then works tirelessly to make that your reality. When you visualize, you're giving instructions to your subconscious. You're saying, "This is what I want to achieve." And here's the amazing part. Your subconscious doesn't really know the difference between reality and imagination. When you visualize something vividly, your subconscious starts to act as if it's real. It begins to align your actions, your habits, and even attract circumstances that help make your visualization come true. And this is where the real change happens. As you continue visualizing, you're programming your subconscious to recognize and seize opportunities that align with your goals. Your subconscious mind starts navigating the best route to get you there, avoiding traffic jams and roadblocks along the way. This is where the true power of visualization lies. It's not just about seeing a pretty picture in your mind. It's about changing your inner programming, the very blueprint of your thoughts and beliefs. As you change these, you begin to change the world around you. Opportunities that were once invisible to you start to become visible. People who can help you reach your goals begin to appear in your life. It's almost like the universe rearranges itself to make your dreams come true. But again, you've got to trust the process. Just like a seed buried in soil, you might not see immediate results, but under the surface things are happening. Your consistent visualization is nurturing these seeds, and in time, they will break through the soil into the sunlight. Now that we've seen how visualization works its magic, let's talk about how you can apply it in real life. It's like having a Swiss Army knife in your mental toolkit, ready to help in various aspects of your life. First up, health. As we talked before, Your mind can help heal your body. There's science behind it. For example, athletes use visualization to enhance their physical training. They picture themselves perfecting their routines, and this mental practice has been shown to improve their physical performance. But it's not just for athletes, anyone can do it. Moving on to wealth and abundance, visualize yourself achieving your financial goals, whether it's earning a higher salary, saving a substantial amount, or even being debt-free. Imagine the feeling of financial freedom, the things you could do, and the peace of mind you'd have. When you regularly visualize financial success, your mind starts to identify opportunities to make these visions real. It could be noticing a new job opening, coming up with a business idea, or making smarter financial decisions. Your mind's focus becomes your reality's magnet. Lastly, let's talk about achieving personal and professional goals. Visualization is like creating a blueprint for your success. Whether it's acing a job interview, learning a new skill, or even improving relationships, visualizing the outcome sets the foundation. Imagine the situation in detail, the setting, the people involved, the conversations, and most importantly, the successful outcome. Feel the emotions associated with achieving your goal. This mental rehearsal primes you for the real thing, building your confidence and preparing you for success. As we wrap up our journey through the world of visualization, let's remember some key takeaways. Visualization isn't just for a select few. It's a power that each and every one of us possesses. It's like having a secret weapon that we all carry around in our minds. We all hold the power of visualization within you. It's as natural as breathing. You've been using it since you were a child, dreaming, hoping, imagining. The only difference now is that you're going to use it more consciously, more purposefully. It's like realizing you've had a powerful tool in your toolbox all along. It's your inherent ability to shape your future, to influence your reality, and to create a life that aligns with your deepest desires. So what are you waiting for? Start using this amazing tool. Set aside a few minutes each day to visualize your goals. Picture your ideal life in detail, the career you want, the relationships you cherish, the health and vitality you deserve. Let these images fill your mind and feel the emotions they bring, and don't just stop at visualization. Combine it with action. Visualization sets the stage, but your actions are what bring it all to life. It's a partnership between your inner visions and your outer efforts. Together, they form an unbeatable team that can take you to heights you've only dreamed of. To sum up the whole discussion, let's reflect on a powerful thought. Norman Vincent Peale once said, "Change your thoughts and you change your world." This simple yet profound statement captures the essence of visualization. Your thoughts have the power to reshape your world, to turn the invisible into the visible, and to bring your dreams into reality.
Good evening, my cherished friends. Tonight I want to share with you what might be the most practical yet revolutionary principle I have ever discovered about manifestation. It's a concept so simple that you'll understand it immediately, yet so powerful that it will transform every desire you've ever held, and every dream you've ever dared to dream. Imagine for a moment that you're standing outside a magnificent mansion, looking through the windows at the beautiful life happening inside. You can see the elegant furnishings, the warmth of the fireplace, the joy of the family gathered around the dinner table. You admire it, you want it, you think about how wonderful it would be to live there, but you remain outside, separated by the glass, observing someone else's life. Now imagine instead that you're sitting in that very mansion, feeling the warmth of the fire on your skin, tasting the delicious meal, laughing with your loved ones around that same table. You're not thinking about the beautiful life, you're living it from the inside. This, my friends, is the difference between thinking about your desires and thinking from your desires. And tonight I'm going to show you that this distinction isn't just poetic. It's the very mechanism by which consciousness creates reality. There's a secret hidden in the way successful people naturally think, a pattern that unsuccessful people consistently miss. It's not what they think about, It's where they think from. Tonight I'm going to reveal this secret and show you how to shift from thinking about your desires to thinking from your desires. A shift that will collapse time, eliminate struggle, and make manifestation as natural as breathing. The revelation that changed my understanding forever came through observing a remarkable woman who seemed to manifest everything she desired with effortless ease. While others struggled and strained to attract their good, she simply lived as if all her dreams were already fulfilled. When I asked her the secret of her success, she said something that initially puzzled me, but later revolutionized my entire approach to teaching consciousness. She said, "Neville, I don't think about being wealthy. I think from wealth. I don't think about being loved. I think from love. I don't think about being successful. I think from success. Most people exhaust themselves thinking about what they want. I rest in thinking from what I am." At first, this seemed like mere wordplay. But as I pondered her statement, I began to understand the profound difference between these two orientations of mind. When you think about something, you position yourself as separate from it, observing it from a distance. When you think from something, you position yourself as one with it, experiencing it from the inside. Let me illustrate this with a simple example. When you think about being in Paris, you imagine yourself there from your current location. You see pictures of the Eiffel Tower. You plan your trip, you anticipate the experience. But when you think from being in Paris, you feel the cobblestones beneath your feet. You smell the cafe aromas. You hear the French conversations around you. You're not imagining Paris. You're experiencing Paris from within Paris. This distinction, thinking about versus thinking from, is the difference between wanting and having, between hoping and knowing, between seeking and finding. After my conversation with this wise woman, I began to observe how people approached their desires. I noticed that those who struggled with manifestation were consistently thinking about their goals, analyzing them, planning for them, working toward them, but always from the position of not having them. Meanwhile, those who manifested easily were thinking from their fulfilled desires, making decisions from that consciousness, feeling from that reality, living from that assumption. A young man came to see me who had been unsuccessfully trying to manifest financial abundance for 2 years. He said, "Neville, I think about money constantly. I think about how much I need, how I could earn it, what I would do with it, how different my life would be if I had it. But the more I think about money, the more absent it seems to become." I said to him, "You have just identified the source of your struggle. You are thinking about money from the consciousness of not having money. But consciousness cannot create what it is thinking about. It can only create what it is thinking from. You must learn to think from abundance rather than about abundance." "But how can I think from having money when I clearly don't have it?" he asked. I explained, money is not paper and coins. Money is a state of consciousness. Abundance is not a bank balance. Abundance is a way of being. When you think from abundance, you make decisions as an abundant person would make them. You feel as an abundant person would feel. You assume as an abundant person would assume. The external money becomes a natural expression of the internal abundance. I taught this young man to shift his entire mental orientation. Instead of thinking about money from the consciousness of lack, he learned to think from money, to think as money would think if money were conscious. I said to him, "When you wake up tomorrow morning, I want you to feel the deep security that comes from knowing your bills are easily paid. Feel the calm confidence of someone whose bank account never causes anxiety. When you walk into a store, feel the freedom of someone who can buy what they truly desire without checking the price. When making decisions, ask yourself, what would someone with abundant resources choose here? Don't think about having money. Inhabit the emotional state of someone for whom money flows naturally and consistently." He began to feel abundant before he had the external evidence. Instead of feeling stressed about bills, He practiced feeling the relief of someone whose finances were handled, instead of feeling restricted by his budget. He practiced feeling the expansiveness of someone with financial freedom. Instead of making decisions from financial fear, he began making decisions from financial confidence. The change was remarkable. Within months, opportunities began appearing that he had never seen before. Business ventures that had been struggling suddenly flourished. People began offering him financial partnerships and investment opportunities. His external reality shifted to match his internal shift from thinking about abundance to thinking from abundance. But this principle extends far beyond financial manifestation. It applies to every area of life: health, relationships, career, creativity, spiritual development. The question is always the same. Are you thinking about your desire or thinking from your desire? Let me share with you the story of a woman who had been battling illness for years. She came to me exhausted from fighting her condition. "Neville," she said, "I think about being healthy all the time. I research treatments. I visualize my body healing. I affirm my wellness, but I still feel sick. What am I doing wrong?" I observed that while she was thinking about health, she was thinking about it from the consciousness of sickness. Her thoughts about health were actually reinforcing her identity as a sick person who wanted to be well. Instead of thinking about health, I suggested, begin thinking from health. I want you to wake up each morning and feel the vitality coursing through your body, not as hope for the future, but as present reality. Feel the strength in your muscles, the clarity in your mind, the energy that wants to express through movement and activity. When you eat, taste your food with the appreciation of someone whose body processes nutrition perfectly. When you exercise, feel the joy of a body that loves to move and is naturally strong. When making health decisions, ask yourself, what would someone in perfect health naturally choose? Don't monitor your symptoms from sickness. Experience your body from wellness. This woman learned to inhabit the consciousness of perfect health. Instead of checking how she felt each morning with the anxiety of someone who expected problems, she began feeling into her body with the gratitude of someone experiencing vitality. Instead of eating foods while worried about their effects, she began enjoying meals with the confidence of someone whose body thrived. Instead of resting from exhaustion, she began resting from satisfaction with a body that worked beautifully. The transformation was profound. Not only did her physical condition improve dramatically, but her entire relationship with her body changed. She stopped experiencing herself as someone fighting illness and began experiencing herself as someone expressing health. The healing felt natural rather than miraculous because she was thinking from health rather than about health. This brings us to one of the most crucial distinctions in all of consciousness work: the difference between the consciousness that seeks and the consciousness that finds, the consciousness that wants and the consciousness that has, the consciousness that becomes and the consciousness that is. When you think about your desires, you automatically position yourself in the consciousness of seeking, wanting, and becoming. When you think from your desires, you automatically position yourself in the consciousness of finding, having, and being. Most people spend their entire lives thinking about what they want, from the consciousness of not having it. They think about love from loneliness, about success from failure, about health from sickness, about abundance from lack. Then they wonder why their thinking doesn't produce the results they seek. But consciousness cannot transcend itself through thinking. A consciousness of lack cannot think its way into abundance. A consciousness of loneliness cannot think its way into love. A consciousness of sickness cannot think its way into health. You must shift the consciousness from which you think. I remember a businessman who had been struggling to grow his company for years. He said, "Neville, I think about success constantly. I study successful companies. I read business books. I analyze market trends, but my business remains stuck. I can't understand why all this thinking about success isn't creating success." I said to him, "You are thinking about success from the consciousness of struggle, but success cannot be thought into existence from struggle. It can only be expressed from the consciousness that already embodies success." I taught this man to shift from thinking about his business succeeding to thinking from his business being successful. Tomorrow morning, I said, I want you to walk into your office feeling the quiet confidence of a leader whose company is thriving. Feel the satisfaction of someone whose vision is already manifesting beautifully. When employees approach you with problems, receive them with the calm assurance of someone who knows that solutions flow naturally through successful enterprises. When making strategic decisions, feel into the wisdom of someone who has already built what you're building. Instead of hoping your next quarter will be profitable, feel the deep knowing of someone whose success is already established. Instead of analyzing why his company wasn't growing from a consciousness of struggle, he began to make decisions from the consciousness of a leader whose company was naturally expanding. Instead of studying other successful businesses from the outside, he began to think as the successful businessman he already was in consciousness. When challenges arose, instead of feeling overwhelmed, he felt the calm resourcefulness of someone for whom problems were simply opportunities for creative solutions. The shift was immediate and dramatic. His decision-making became more confident and strategic. His leadership style naturally evolved. His vision for the company expanded. And as his consciousness shifted, his business reality shifted to match within 18 months. His company had achieved the success he had been thinking about for years. This principle also reveals why so many people struggle with relationships. They think about love from loneliness, about partnership from separation, about connection from isolation. They spend their mental energy analyzing why they don't have love instead of experiencing the love they are. A wonderful example of this came through a woman who had been single for many years. She said, Neville, I think about my ideal relationship constantly. I imagine the perfect partner. I visualize romantic scenarios. I affirm that love is coming to me. But I remain alone. Why isn't my thinking about love creating love in my life? I explained to her that thinking about love from loneliness actually reinforces loneliness. Instead of thinking about being loved, I suggested begin thinking from being loved. Tomorrow I want you to wake up with the warm glow of someone who knows she is cherished beyond measure. Feel the gentle smile that comes from knowing you are someone's greatest treasure. When you move through your day, carry the graceful confidence of a woman who has never doubted her worth because she feels it reflected in loving eyes. When you meet new people, greet them with the open warmth of someone who has love to give because she is already so full of love. When making choices about your evening or weekend, ask yourself what would a deeply beloved woman naturally choose to do. Feel the security, the joy, the natural radiance of someone whose heart is completely fulfilled. This woman learned to inhabit the consciousness of being deeply loved. Instead of going to social events hoping to meet someone, she attended them with the contentment of someone whose heart was already full. Instead of analyzing every interaction for signs of romantic potential, she simply enjoyed connecting with people from a place of abundance rather than need. The results were beautiful. Within months, she met a man who was also thinking from love rather than about love. Their connection was natural and immediate because both were operating from the consciousness of love rather than the consciousness of seeking love. But perhaps the most profound application of this principle is in the area of spiritual development and self-realization. Most seekers spend years thinking about enlightenment, about consciousness, about their spiritual goals. But enlightenment cannot be achieved by thinking about it. It can only be recognized by thinking from it. This is why Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He wasn't thinking about being divine. He was thinking from divinity. He wasn't seeking God. He was expressing God. He wasn't becoming spiritual. He was being spirit. When you think about your spiritual nature, you reinforce the illusion of separation between yourself and the divine. When you think from your spiritual nature, you recognize the truth of your eternal oneness with all that is. I knew a man who had been a spiritual seeker for decades, studying every teaching, attending every workshop, seeking every experience that promised enlightenment. He came to me frustrated and exhausted. Neville, he said, I've been thinking about God, consciousness, and truth for 30 years. I've analyzed every scripture, meditated for thousands of hours, and practiced every technique. But I still feel separate from the divine. What am I missing? I said to him, "You are thinking about God from the consciousness of separation. But God cannot be found through thinking. God can only be expressed through being. Stop thinking about your divine nature and start thinking from divinity." This man learned to shift from seeking the divine to expressing the divine. Instead of thinking about consciousness, he began thinking as consciousness. Instead of trying to become spiritual, he began being the spirit he had always been. The transformation was immediate and lasting. He stopped seeking and started being. He stopped questioning and started knowing. He stopped trying to become enlightened and started expressing the enlightenment he had always been. Now you might wonder, how do you make this shift from thinking about to thinking from? How do you inhabit a consciousness you don't yet feel you possess? The secret lies in understanding that consciousness is not something you acquire, it's something you recognize. You don't need to become abundant to think from abundance. You need to recognize the abundance you already are. You don't need to become healthy to think from health. You need to acknowledge the perfect health that is your true nature. Every state of consciousness already exists within you. Your job is not to create these states, but to choose which state to think from. When you choose to think from love, you activate the love consciousness that has always been within you. When you choose to think from success, you activate the success consciousness that is your birthright. The practice is simple but requires consistency. Throughout your day, catch yourself thinking about your desires and consciously shift to thinking from them. When you notice yourself thinking about having money, shift to thinking from having money. When you catch yourself thinking about being healthy, shift to thinking from being healthy. Feel the difference in your energy, your emotions, your entire sense of self. Notice how thinking from your desires feels natural, peaceful, and empowering, while thinking about your desires feels effortful, anxious, and draining. But remember, this is not a mental technique. It's a recognition of truth. You are not pretending to be something you're not. You are remembering something you've always been. You are not creating a false identity. You are uncovering your true identity. When you think from love, you're not pretending to be loving. You're expressing the love you are. When you think from abundance, you're not faking prosperity. You're revealing the abundance that is your nature. When you think from health, you're not denying illness. You're affirming the wholeness that is your essence. So tonight I invite you to examine your mental habits. Notice where you've been thinking about your desires instead of from them. Observe how this creates a sense of separation between yourself and your good. Then begin to practice the art of thinking from. Choose one desire that is important to you and spend the next week thinking from its fulfillment rather than about its achievement. Notice how this shifts your energy, your actions, and your experience. Remember, consciousness cannot create what it thinks about, it can only express what it thinks from. You are not here to think your way to your desires. You are here to recognize that you are already what you desire. Think from love, and love expresses through you. Think from abundance, and abundance flows as you. Think from health, and health radiates from you. Think from success, and success becomes your natural expression. The secret is not in thinking harder about what you want. It's in thinking from what you are. Stop thinking about your dreams and start thinking from your dreams. Stop thinking about your potential and start thinking from your reality. You are not becoming what you desire. You are recognizing what you have always been. Think from this truth, and watch as your entire world transforms to reflect the consciousness you truly are. Thank you, and good evening. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of consciousness. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready for this truth. Take these teachings and let them transform not just your mind, but your entire reality. Until we meet again in consciousness, keep assuming your greatness and living from the end of your desires. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.
You may wonder, what does it mean to do it alone? Is it a call to isolation? A rejection of the world around us? No, my beloved, it is quite the opposite. To do it alone is to recognize the divinity within you, to understand that you are the operant power in your world, and that all creation begins in the sanctum of your own mind. Consider for a moment the great masters throughout history. Did they not retreat into solitude to commune with the infinite? Did not prophets venture into the wilderness to receive their revelations? This, my friends, is the essence of doing it alone, not in physical isolation, but in the realization that you and you alone are the author of your life story. When I say do it alone, I speak of the inner work, the labor of consciousness that no one else can perform for you. It is the intimate dance between your imagination and the infinite possibilities that lie dormant within you. This dance, this sacred communion, can only be experienced in the privacy of your own being. Think of it this way. When you enter a dream at night, do you bring others with you? No, you enter that realm alone, state of consciousness. When you have truly assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you are living from the end, the appropriate actions will arise spontaneously. You will find yourself naturally doing the things that lead to the manifestation of your desire. This is very different from the common approach of trying to force results through sheer willpower or endless activity. Such forced action often comes from a place of lack or fear, and it rarely leads to lasting fulfillment. Instead, when you do it alone, when you change your state of consciousness first, your actions become effortless expressions of your new state of being. Consider the example of learning
for planting new seeds. Here's the truth that will change how you see every loss. Sometimes consciousness subtracts to prepare you for a greater addition. It removes what no longer serves your destiny so that your hands will be free to receive what does. Look again at what you've lost. Was it really serving your highest good? Was it truly aligned with the person you're becoming? Often, we cling to things not because they're good for us, but because they're familiar. We hold on to jobs, relationships, and situations that drain our energy because we fear the unknown more than we trust the process of growth. But consciousness, your own divine awareness, knows better. It knows that before you can hold more, you must release what is keeping your hands full. It knows that before you can receive the new, you must make space by releasing the old. When you understand this principle, you stop cursing your losses and start blessing them. You recognize that what appears to be subtraction is actually preparation for multiplication. Every ending is a new beginning. Don't curse the loss. Understand its purpose. Wealth isn't just gained by addition. It often comes by subtraction first. The question is not, why did this happen to me? But what is this making room for in my life? Trust the pruning. What you lost may not return in the same form, but what's coming will make sense of everything that's been removed. The sixth sign is perhaps the most profound. You begin to experience a peace that defies explanation. Even when your external circumstances seem uncertain, there is a quiet confidence within you that all is well. This peace is not based on evidence, it is based on faith. It is the peace that comes from knowing that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. It is the calm assurance that what you have imagined, what you have assumed, what you have felt to be true, must and will manifest in your experience. This peace allows you to act without anxiety, to plan without panic, to move forward without fear. It is the sign that your consciousness has already accepted the reality of your wealth even before it appears in your external world. When you have this peace, you know that you are not hoping for wealth, you are expecting it. And expectation is the feeling that precedes manifestation. The seventh sign is a fundamental shift in how you speak about yourself and your future. You stop using the language of limitation and begin using the language of assumption. Instead of saying, I hope I will be wealthy, you begin to say, I am wealthy. Instead of I want success, you declare, I am successful. Watch this transformation carefully. You no longer speak like someone defeated. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance. You're not just thinking about surviving. You're beginning to believe in thriving, even if your current bank account doesn't match your mindset. This is not positive thinking. This is consciousness speaking. When you truly assume a state, your language naturally reflects that assumption. You cannot maintain the feeling of wealth while speaking the language of poverty. Your words are not separate from your consciousness. They are the very expression of it. Remember this biblical truth. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If your inner life is beginning to echo abundance, gratitude, generosity, and vision, it's only a matter of time before your outer life reflects the same. The change is spiritual first, then physical. You stop thinking small because consciousness itself is expanding. You begin to see yourself not as you were, but as you are becoming. This shift in self-perception is one of the most powerful indicators that wealth is on its way. Your words are not just sounds. They are the vehicles by which consciousness expresses itself in the world. Every word you speak is either confirming your current limitations or affirming your expanding possibilities. The eighth sign is the paradoxical increase in your desire to give, even when you feel you have little to give. True wealth consciousness is never stingy or fearful. It operates from the assumption of abundance, not scarcity. Here's something that might surprise you. Many people on the path to wealth start giving more before they ever receive more. As strange as it may sound, your spirit begins to understand the law of sowing and reaping. When you begin to feel wealthy in consciousness, you naturally want to share that wealth. You understand that giving is not loss. It is circulation. It is the way consciousness expands and expresses itself through you. You no longer cling tightly to every dollar. You start blessing others, giving without fear, because your heart trusts that what you release returns to you multiplied. This generosity is not calculated. It is spontaneous. It flows from the recognition that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. When you give from this understanding, you are not depleting yourself. You are affirming your connection to the infinite. This isn't foolishness. This is faith. And generosity is the soil in which abundance grows. If you're feeling more drawn to giving, that's a powerful sign that consciousness is preparing to increase your storehouse. The wealthy know this secret. You cannot outgive the universe. Every gift you give is a gift you give to yourself. When you give from a consciousness of abundance, you are not making yourself poorer. You are making yourself richer. You are demonstrating to consciousness that you believe in its infinite capacity to provide. The ninth sign is an insatiable appetite for learning and growth. You begin to invest in yourself, in books, courses, mentors, and experiences that expand your understanding of wealth, success, and consciousness itself. This hunger is not mere curiosity. It is consciousness preparing itself for greater expression. You cannot maintain a state of wealth consciousness without constantly expanding your understanding of what wealth means and how it operates. The knowledge you seek is not just practical, it is spiritual. You want to understand not just how to make money, but how to live as a wealthy person. You want to know not just the techniques of success, but the consciousness that underlies all success. Remember, wealth is not something you get. It is something you become, and becoming requires constant growth and expansion. The 10th sign is the development of an inner strength that allows you to persist through challenges that would have previously defeated you. You find yourself able to do things that once seemed impossible, to continue when others would quit, to maintain your vision when others lose faith. And here's what's remarkable. Suddenly, things that once overwhelmed you now inspire you. You find strength where you used to find excuses. You stop procrastinating. You start showing up early, staying late, doing more. This strength is not human willpower. It is divine power flowing through you. It is the power of consciousness itself, expressing through your assumption of wealth. When you truly believe in your heart that you are wealthy, you find the strength to act like a wealthy person, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. That strength isn't just coming from you. It's flowing through you. That's consciousness equipping you. When it calls you into wealth, it also clothes you with the capacity to chase it. This strength manifests in many ways. The courage to start a business, the persistence to complete a project, the faith to invest in yourself, the determination to overcome obstacles. It doesn't mean the journey will be easy, but it does mean you'll be empowered. You'll find grace to do hard things that once seemed impossible. This is the strength that builds empires, creates fortunes, and transforms lives. And it is available to you right now, in this moment, if you will only assume it. Here is a fundamental principle that most people do not understand. Consciousness always creates the vision before it releases the provision. You will see the dream before you see the dollars. You will feel the calling before you touch the cash. You will have the idea before you have the income to fund it. This is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. Vision builds faith, and faith is the bridge between consciousness and manifestation. If you had all to support that assumption, heaven provides the opportunity, but you must take the responsibility. Faith without works is dead. The signs are the spark, but the fire is your responsibility. So I ask you tonight, what will you do with the signs? Will you continue to doubt them, or will you discern them? Will you ignore the small whispers, or will you follow them into fullness? I leave you with this promise. If you will assume the feeling of wealth, if you will live in your imagination as if you were already wealthy, if you will persist in this assumption despite the evidence of your senses, then wealth must manifest in your experience. We are entering a time where those who walk in faith and obedience will see unprecedented favor. I don't say that to excite you. I say that because it's happening all around the world. People are being awakened to new purpose, new ventures, new visions, and those who listen and move will be the stewards of this new wave of wealth. This is not hope. This is law. This is not wishful thinking. This is the way consciousness works. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the operant power in your own experience. If you're hearing this, you are not disqualified. Your past does not cancel your promise. Consciousness does not call the qualified. It qualifies the called. And if you're seeing these signs, you are being called.
Talking to oneself is a habit everyone indulges in. We could no more stop talking to ourselves than we could stop eating and drinking. All that we can do is control the nature and the direction of our inner conversation. Most of us are totally unaware of the fact that our inner conversations are the causes of the circumstances of our life. We are told that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But do we know that man's thinking follows the tracks laid down in his own inner conversations? To turn the tracks to which he is tied in the direction in which he wants to go, he must put off his former conversation, which is called in the Bible the old man, and be renewed in the spirit of his mind. Speech is the image of mind. Therefore, to change his mind, he must first change his speech. By speech is meant those mental conversations we carry on with ourselves. The world is a magic circle of infinite possible mental transformations, for there are an infinite number of possible mental conversations. When man discovers the creative power of inner talking, he will realize his function and his mission in life. Then he can act to a purpose. Without such knowledge, he acts unconsciously. Everything is a manifestation of the mental conversations which go on in us without our being aware of them. But as civilized beings, we must become aware of them and act with a purpose. A man's mental conversations attracts his life. As long as there is no change in his inner talking, the personal history of the man remains the same. To attempt to change the world before we change our inner talking is to struggle against the very nature of things. Man can go round and round in the same circle of disappointments and misfortunes, not seeing them as caused by his own negative inner talking, but as caused by others. This may seem far-fetched, but it is a matter which lends itself to research and experiment. The formula the chemist illustrates is not more certainly provable than the formula of this science by which words are clothed in objective reality. One day, a girl told me of her difficulties in working with her employer. She was convinced that he unjustly criticized and rejected her very best efforts. Upon hearing her story, I explained that if she thought him unfair, it was a sure sign that she herself was in need of a new conversation piece. There was no doubt that she was mentally arguing with her employer, for others only echoed that which we whispered to them in secret. She confessed that she argued with him mentally all day long. When she realized what she had been doing, she agreed to change her inner conversations with her employer. She imagined that he had congratulated her on her fine work, and that she, in turn, had thanked him for his praise and kindness. To her great delight, she soon discovered that her own attitude was the cause of all that befell her. The behavior of her employer reversed itself. It echoed, as it had always done, her mental conversations with him. I rarely see a person alone without wondering to what conversation piece is he tied. On what mysterious track is he walking? We must begin to take life consciously, for the solution of all problems lies just in this. The second man, the Lord from heaven in all of us, is trying to become self-conscious in the body, that he may be about his Father's business. What are his labors? To imitate his Father, to become master of the word, master of his inner talking, that he may mold this world of ours into a likeness with the kingdom of love. The prophet said, "Be ye imitators of God as dear children." How would I imitate God? Well, we are told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. Our inner conversations represent, in various ways, the world we live in. Our individual worlds are self-revelations of our own inner speech. We are told that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof, for by their words they shall be justified, and by their words they shall be condemned. We abandon ourselves to negative inner talking, yet expect to retain command of life. Our present mental conversations do not recede into the past as man believes. They advance into the future to confront us as wasted or invested words. My word, said the prophet, shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in all the things whereto I sent it. How would I send my word to help a friend? I would imagine that I am hearing his voice, that he is physically present, that my hand is on him. I would then congratulate him on his good fortune, tell him that I have never seen him look better. I would listen as though I heard him. I would imagine that he is telling me he has never felt better, he has never been happier, and I would know that in this loving, knowing communion with another, a communion populous with loving thoughts and feelings, that my word was sent, and it shall not return unto me void, but it shall prosper in the things whereto I sent it. Now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. It is only what is done now that counts, even though its effects may not be visible until tomorrow. We call not aloud, but by an inner effort of intense attention. To listen attentively as though you heard is to create. The events and relationships of life are your word made visible. Most of us rob others of their willingness and their ability to be kind and generous by our fixed attitudes towards them. Our attitudes unfold within us in the form of mental conversations. Inner talking from premises of fulfilled desire is the way to consciously create circumstances. Our inner conversations are perpetually outpictured all round us in happens. Therefore, what we desire to see and hear without, we must see and hear within. For the whole manifested world goes to show us what use we have made of the word. If you practice this art of controlled inner speaking, you too will know what a thrill it is to be able to say, "And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe." You will be able to consciously use your imagination to transform and channel the immense creative energies of your inner speech from the mental, emotional level to the physical level, and I do not know what limits, if any, there are to such a process. What is your aim? Does your inner talking match it? It must If you would realize your aim, for as the prophet asked, can two walk together except they be agreed? And of course, the answer is no, they cannot. The two who must agree are your inner conversation and the state desired. That is, what you desire to see and hear without, you must see and hear within. Every stage of man's progress is made by the conscious exercise of his imagination, matching his inner speech to his fulfilled desire. As we control our inner talking, matching it to our fulfilled desires, we can lay aside all other processes. Then we simply act by clear imagination and intention. We imagine the wish fulfilled and carry on mental conversations from that premise. The right inner speech is the speech that would be yours, were you to realize your ideal. In other words, it is the speech of fulfilled desire. Now you will understand how wise the ancient was when he told us in the Hermetica, there are two gifts which God has bestowed upon man alone and on no other mortal creature. These two are mind and speech, and the gift of mind and speech is equivalent to that of immortality. If a man uses these two gifts rightly, he will differ in nothing from the immortals, and when he quits his body, mind and speech will be his guides, and by them he will be brought into the troop of the gods and the souls that have attained to bliss. With the gift of mind and speech, you create the conditions and circumstances of life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, said Hermes, is Son, and mind is Father of the Word. They are not separate one from the other, for life is the union of word and mind. You and your inner talking or word are one. If your mind is one with your inner conversation, then to be transformed in mind is to be transformed in conversation. It was a flash of the deepest insight that taught Paul to write, put off the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Put on the new man. Put on the new man, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, is to change your inner conversation, for speech and mind are one. A change of speech is a change of mind. The prophet Samuel said, "The Lord spake by me, and his word was in my tongue." If the Lord's word was in the prophet's tongue, then the Lord's mouth that uttered the word must be the prophet's mind, for inner conversations originate in the mind and produce little tiny speech movements in the tongue. The prophet is telling us that the mouth of God is the mind of man, that our inner conversations are the word of God, creating life about us as we create it within ourselves. In the Bible, you are told that the word is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. See, I have set before you this day life and good, death and evil, blessings and cursings. Choose life. The conditions and circumstances of life are not created by some power external to yourself. They are the conditions which result from the exercise of your freedom of choice, your freedom to choose the ideas to which you will respond. Now is the accepted time. This is the day of salvation. Whatsoever things are of good report, think on these things. For your future will be formed by the word of God, which is your present inner talking. You create your future by your inner conversation. The worlds were framed by the word of God, that is your inner talking. See on the fields, the sesamum was sesamum, the corn was corn, the silence and the darkness knew. So is a man's fate born, for ends run true to origins. If you would reap success, you must plant success. The idea in your mind which starts the whole process going is the idea which you accept as true. This is a very important point to grasp, for truth depends upon the intensity of imagination, not upon facts. When the girl imagined that her employer was unfair, his behavior confirmed her imagination. When she changed her assumption of him, his behavior reflected the change, proving that an assumption, though false if persisted in, will harden into fact. The mind always behaves according to the assumption with which it starts. Therefore, to experience success, we must assume that we are successful. We must live wholly on the level of the imagination itself, and it must be consciously and deliberately undertaken. It does not matter if, at the present moment, external facts deny the truth of your assumption. If you persist in your assumption, it will become a fact. Signs follow, they do not precede. To assume a new concept of yourself is, to that extent, to change your inner talking or word of God, and is therefore putting on the new man. Our inner talking, though unheard by others, is more productive of future conditions than all the audible promises and threats of men. Your ideal is waiting to be incarnated, but unless you yourself offer it human parentage, it is incapable of birth. You must define the person you wish to be, and then assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled in faith that that assumption will find expression through you. The true test of religion is in its use, but men have made it a thing to defend. It is to you that the words are spoken. Blessed is she that believeth, for there shall be an accomplishment of those things which are spoken unto her from the Lord. Test it. Try it. Conceive yourself to be one that you want to be, and remain faithful to that conception, for life here is only a training ground for image making. Try it and see if life will not shape itself on the model of your imagination. Everything in the world bears witness of the use or misuse of man's inner talking. Negative inner talking, particularly evil and envious inner talking, are the breeding ground of the future battlefields and penitentiaries of the world. Through habit, man has developed a secret affection for these negative inner conversations. Through them he justifies failure, criticizes his neighbors, gloats over the distress of others, and in general, pours out his venom on all. Such misuse of the word perpetuates the violence of the world. The transformation of self requires that we meditate on a given phrase, a phrase which implies that our ideal is realized, and inwardly affirm it over and over and over again, until we are inwardly affected by its implication, until we are possessed by it. Hold fast to your noble inner convictions or conversations. Nothing can take them from you but yourself. Nothing can stop them from becoming objective facts. All things are generated out of your imagination by the Word of God, which is your own inner conversation, and every imagination reaps its own words, which it has inwardly spoken. The great secret of success is a controlled inner conversation from premises of fulfilled desire. The only price you pay for success is the giving up of your former conversation, which belongs to the old man, the unsuccessful man. The time is ripe for many of us to take conscious charge in creating heaven on earth. To consciously and voluntarily use our imagination to inwardly fear and say only that which is in harmony with our ideal is actively bringing heaven to earth. Every time we exercise our imagination lovingly on behalf of another, we are literally mediating God to that one. Always use your imagination masterfully as a participant, not an onlooker. In using your imagination to transform energy from the mental, emotional level to the physical level, extend your senses. Look and imagine that you are seeing what you want to see, that you are hearing what you want to hear, and touching what you want to touch. Become intensely aware of doing so. Give your imaginary state all the tones and feeling of reality. Keep on doing so until you arouse within yourself the mood of accomplishment and the feeling of relief. This is the active, voluntary use of the imagination, as distinguished from the passive, involuntary acceptance of appearances. It is by this active, voluntary use of the imagination that the second man, the Lord from heaven, is awakened in man. Men call imagination a plaything, the dream faculty, but actually it is the very gateway of reality. Imagination is the way to the state desired. It is the truth of the state desired, and the life of that state desired, could you realize this fully? Then would you know that what you do in your imagination is the only important thing? Within the circle of our imagination, the whole drama of life is being enacted over and over again. Through the bold and active use of the imagination, we can stretch out our hand and touch a frame 10,000 miles away and bring health and wealth to the parched lips of his being. It is the way to everything in the world. How else could we function beyond our fleshly limitation? But imagination demands of us a fuller living of our dreams in the present. Through the portals of the present, the whole of time must pass. Imagine elsewhere as here and then as now. Try it and see. You can always tell if you've succeeded in making the future dream a present fact by observing your inner talking. If you are inwardly saying what you would audibly say, were you physically present and physically moving about in that place, then you have succeeded. And you could prophesy it from these inner conversations and from the moods which they awaken within you, what your future will be. For one power alone makes a prophet, imagination, the divine vision. All that we meet is our word made visible. And what we do not now comprehend is related by affinity to the unrecognized forces of our own inner conversation and the moods which they arouse within us. If we do not like what is happening to us, it is a sure sign that we are in need of a change of mental diet. For man, we are told, lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And having discovered the mouth of God to be the mind of man, a mind which lives on words or inner talking, we should feed into our minds only loving, noble thoughts. For with words or inner talking we build our world. Let love's lordly hand raise your hunger and thirst to all that is noble and of good report. Let your mind starve. Ere you raise your hand to a cup, love did not fill, or a bowl, love did not bless, that you may never again have to say, "What have I said? What have I done?" O all-powerful human words.
Money is energy in motion, an extension of the universe's very creative essence. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly while others constantly struggle? The secret lies in something beyond physical effort: vibrational frequency. When you understand that money is a projection of your mental and vibrational state, a world of possibilities opens up. Imagine being able to align yourself with this abundance energy and completely transform your financial reality. In this video, we'll explore how changing your relationship with money can unlock unexpected levels of prosperity, ready to discover the hidden power that attracts money. Our perception of scarcity is programmed. Money, like all matter, is vibrational energy, manipulable by those who understand the universal laws. However, these laws have been deliberately hidden by forces interested in keeping the masses trapped in cycles of lack. Our relationship with money is a mental prison, maintained by limiting beliefs and the vibrational manipulation of our consciousness. Money is not just a tool for exchange. It is a vibrational force that obeys universal laws most people are unaware of. The world around us is shaped by an invisible energy web, and money plays a central role in this system. Scarcity is not a natural condition, but an illusion, carefully imposed by systems that want to control how we perceive and experience abundance. The true key to attracting wealth lies in understanding that money is pure energy, and this energy responds directly to our vibrational frequency. When we think of money as something distant or unattainable, we create an energetic barrier that reinforces scarcity. This barrier is built by beliefs implanted early on, making us believe that money is hard to achieve or reserved for a privileged few. To break this cycle, you need to become the money itself. It's not about possessing it physically, but aligning your mind and emotions with the frequency of abundance. This requires abandoning thought patterns that keep you stuck in scarcity and starting to act and feel like someone who already lives in a state of financial abundance. The most powerful conspiracy against your prosperity is the idea of separation, the belief that you and money are distinct entities. This illusion is reinforced by systems that profit from your lack. But the truth is that you already have everything you need to attract wealth. The creative energy that moves the universe is within you, waiting to be awakened and directed. When you change your frequency, the universe has no choice but to reorganize itself to reflect your new reality. Transforming your relationship with money requires a profound reprogramming of the mind and personal vibration. The technique is based on reshaping reality through consciousness, dismantling imposed beliefs, and aligning with the energetic frequency of abundance. Here's how to do it. Recognize money as energy. Imagine money as a constantly flowing river. When you think of it as something limited or distant, it's like placing a barrier in that river, preventing it from reaching you. For example, instead of saying, "I never have enough money," replace it with, "Money is continuously flowing to me." Practice this change in small daily situations. When you make a payment, instead of thinking about the money leaving, visualize the energy cycle returning multiplied. Money responds to how you interact with it. Identify and destroy limiting beliefs. Take a notebook and write down all the phrases you've heard about money, especially the negative ones. Examples: money doesn't bring happiness. Rich people are greedy. Now for each phrase, write a new perspective. For instance, money doesn't bring happiness can transform into money, amplifies my happiness by providing freedom and security. Then read these new affirmations out loud every day. Additionally, think of real examples, billionaire philanthropists who use their wealth to impact the world. These stories help dismantle the negative view. Align your emotions with abundance. This technique is practical. Every day upon waking, dedicate 5 minutes to close your eyes and feel what your life would be like with abundant money. Imagine getting into your dream car, hearing the sound of the door closing and the engine starting. Visualize accessing your bank account and seeing high balances. The trick here is not just to visualize, but to feel gratitude and certainty that it's already real. The more vivid the emotion, the more powerful the attraction. Practice and deepen your visualization by using tools like a vision board. Gather images of things you want to attract: a house, vacations, a full bank account, and place them somewhere visible. Combine this with empowering phrases like, "I naturally attract prosperity." Another tip is to create mental routines. For example, before bed, visualize a perfect day as someone who is financially free. The more you repeat it, the more it becomes ingrained in your subconscious. Replace fear with confidence. Whenever you feel fear related to money, ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? Often fear stems from unrealistic projections. Now reinforce it with action. Instead of worrying about bills, focus on how you can create value. For example, in a financial crunch, think about how your skills or talents can generate income. A person confident in the flow of money always finds opportunities, while fear paralyzes. Act as if you already have what you desire. This point is crucial. People with an abundance mindset invest in themselves. For instance, even if you're starting with little, invest part of what you earn in knowledge or tools that can increase your income. If you have a business, invest in marketing or improving your products. The more money you attract, the more committed you become to growing your business or personal life. Make lists of how to use the money you want to attract as if you already have it. The key is to think like someone prosperous. Wealthy people don't spend impulsively, but allocate their resources strategically. Let go of obsessive need. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about money, but that you trust its flow. For example, if you feel anxious about spending, turn that moment into a gratitude ritual. I'm grateful to be able to pay for this, and open space for more abundance. Additionally, avoid scarcity thoughts, like saving money out of fear. Instead, see money as a living resource that should circulate and return to you. Elevate your vibration. Money is attracted to high vibration. Ensure your daily routine includes moments to elevate your energy. This can be done through meditation, inspiring music, or even exercises that release dopamine. Now that you understand that money is energy shaped by your internal state, it's time to act. What separates those who live in abundance from those who are stuck in scarcity isn't talent or luck, but the willingness to take the first step to transform your vibration. Imagine what your life would be like if you truly believed you could attract everything you desire. Think of all the possibilities available to you now, just waiting for you to decide to change your mindset. No matter where you are today, what matters is to start. Start small, but start consistently. Align your thoughts, visualize your ideal life, and above all, take actions that reflect this new reality. Remember, no one else will do this for you. The universe responds to the energy of those who are willing to commit to themselves. Practicing these techniques may seem challenging at first, but that's how great changes begin. Transformation requires courage, and that courage is within you. By changing your vibration and actions, you begin to attract opportunities and paths that once seemed impossible. Don't underestimate the power of small daily steps. They are the bridge to the abundance you desire and deserve. Now that you know abundance begins within you, it's time to act. Don't wait for things to change on their own. Start today, applying the techniques you have learned here. Spend a few minutes each day aligning your vibration, visualizing your ideal life, and making decisions that reflect the abundance you want to attract. Abundance starts in the mind, grows in the heart, and manifests in reality. Everything you need to transform your relationship with money is already within you. It's not just about attracting wealth, but becoming the type of person who naturally lives in harmony with the energy of money. By changing your vibration and acting like someone who already lives in abundance, you connect with the natural flow of prosperity. Remember that money is merely a reflection of your internal state. It will come to those who respect it, understand its energy, and are willing to take action. Now look at the world with new eyes. Everything you desire is already available, waiting for you to reach out and grab it. Trust yourself, invest in your potential, and stay focused on your transformation. This is the moment to act. Abundance is just a step away from becoming your reality. If you need more content, insights, or techniques, you know where to find them. This is the beginning of your journey to a life of prosperity. Believe it and make it happen. If this content made sense to you, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Help others see that they too have the power to transform their financial reality. And remember, this is just the beginning. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content like this, which will help you grow, evolve, and achieve the life you deserve.